Miller. Give us a Sammy Watkins. Give us a Sorensen. Give us a, I don't know.
McCole Hardman.
Yeah, McCole Hardman. Rob Gronkowski. So I want to ask you guys first real quick, and then we got the key story, and then we'll get to the fellas calling on this. Again, 888-SAY-ESPN. Give us your outside-the-box Super Bowl MVP pick. I know, Key, you say it's going to be a quarterback no matter what, but if you had to kind of answer this question, how would you go?
I think so. I'm gonna go defense. Tampa. If Tampa wins, then I'm gonna go defense, and I'm gonna probably go Shaq Barrett or JPP.
Gotcha.
If
your
they
number
win.
one impact players from yesterday.
Yeah, because if they win the game, it's because of that defensive front really getting after Patrick Mahomes the way they did Aaron Rodgers. So I would say one of those two guys would probably 2 or 3 sacks, sack fumble, 2 sacks, a tip pass with an interception leads to a touchdown, something like that.
Jay?
Yeah, I'll go with McCole Hardman just because there'll be so much focus on Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, all those guys that torched him up in games prior. So maybe an outlier, but I realistically don't see the MVP going to anybody else but one of the two quarterbacks. I mean, at the end of the day, as much as we want to sit here and say, here's how we can speculate who may have the best chance to get outside these guys, it's going to be one of those two guys.
Fair enough. Key certainly seems to agree. Again, give us your outside-the-box Super Bowl MVP pick. I'll go with somebody like Levante David or Devin White. I do think that is something that the Bucs defense is going to be able to do because it'll be anecdotal. Wow, this guy, one of these guys finally stopped Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and then you got the whole history of the dominant Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense that won the Super Bowl against the Raiders of the past, and Derek Brooks and all the Warren Sapps and the Simeon Rices, the Rondé Barbers, the Johnny Lynches, the Brian Kellys. You got all of that's there. It just adds to, if the Bucs win, what people, how they are in narrative. It's like, oh, this reminds me of that defense.
So let us know. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776.
Even though it's not the defense, but.
True. The more quirky, the better, right? The more quirky, the better the chance you'll get on the air. So be creative with this. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Key, if you bet 10, never mind. We spent the entire break. We can't subject the audience. We cannot subject the audience to this.
Well, I'll bet 100.
Okay, that means you win. Okay, never mind. Here's the deal. You have a great Super Bowl story for the guy that really is the spirit of today's poll question. Take us back. Dexter Jackson winning the Super Bowl MVP for your squad.
Well, he won the Super Bowl MVP with 2 interceptions early in the game that helped our defense as well as our offense get the ball back, score some points. But D-Jack didn't get a chance to go to Disney World. For the life of me, I don't understand why. So Brad Johnson was the guy, and I don't know if it was Dexter wasn't available or what the case was, but D-Jack did take the ride on the float to Disney World. And so, up until that point, we always seen the MVP of the Super Bowl, hey, what's next? I'm going to Disney World. The whole deal. It was like, well, I'm thinking D-Jack MVP, he's going to the Super Bowl. I think even after the game, I was like, oh, man, I'll see you when I get back, because me and Brad wind up doing the Leno show. And so I was like, I'll see you when you get back from Disney World, whatever. And I look up, Brad was the one going to Disney World. I'm like, what happened? It did. Right? I'm like, what happened, man? But, maybe Mickey Mouse wanted to see somebody different. I don't know.
I got nothing to on that.
So
one.
let's
But think about it though, Jay. That's crazy to me.
I don't. How does that happen? Have you ever asked him?
I didn't
bring him on the show and ask him.
I think we're trying to get a hold of him, but I don't know if there was something that D-Jack had to do.
What could be more important?
I don't know.
At that moment.
I have no idea. I just know that Brad went to Disney World and not Dexter. Brad was on the float. Brad was. I was like,
waving at.
Did they get the MVP wrong?
Wrong Florida State guy on the float. Wrong Florida State guy on the float. We're asking this morning, give us your outside-the-box Super Bowl MVP pick. You guys have waited. Let's try to squeeze one in here. Angelo in Toronto. Oh, international call. Angelo in Toronto here on ESPN Radio. Outside the box.
Morning, guys.
Hey.
Are we on TSN?
Hey, Key.
Yo.
Hey, Key, no, you're not on TSN. Hey, Key, all I want to tell you is that I'm a longtime New York Jets fan, born in '68, and you know what? You were my favorite New York Jets. I still got the jersey, Key, 19.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
But I got to tell you something. what would be the classic? Would be 2 interceptions, 1 sack from the Honey Badger. Imagine that interview.
Well, the Honey Badger would be good too. Like, you get that sort of stuff. Two sacks, a pick, a fumble. You do something, create some magic that gives some momentum. Because even in our Super Bowl, Dwight Smith had two pick sixes, I believe, in that game. 2 interceptions for 2 pick sixes, but the MVP trophy was already voted on. And so it's like, well, Dwight Smith, I actually thought Dwight was going to get it because of that, but they had already voted by the time he got the last pick 6.
They do tend to vote like late in the fourth quarter. The game really wasn't in question, but it is odd again to think that a guy that's got 2 pick sixes gets one over a guy with 2 picks. But then again, it's also odd that Brad was on the float. So there's a lot of great stuff. We should mention, though, you mentioned to us yesterday that the last pick 6 for Smith came with a couple seconds left in the game that had already been decided. I'm not taking it's not academic. You had an interception in the Super Bowl, bro. I'm not taking that away from you.
But even so, though, they still was trying to come back. They at that point, I think when Whiteface got the touchdown, we called him Whiteface's nickname. Gotcha. So if you're trying to figure out,
I was trying to figure it out.
And so when he got the pick, I believe we were up by either 13 or 14, and they were trying to come back. They could score, get an onside kick, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
He essentially just put them out their misery with that one. And so, at that point, it was like, it's over.
And it was Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. Angelo, SportsCenter, watching SportsCenter. SportsCenter RE, by the way, not the SportsCenter ER up there. On the way, you think that story was good? Dexter Jackson not being on the float? It's nothing compared to the story that Sal Palantonio has about Key.
I don't know where this is going. I have no idea, but I'm going to find out.
All I heard was Tijuana.
I was not it.
What?
Never mind.
I didn't say anything. I just heard Tijuana. That's all I heard.
We're not going south of the border. We're heading a little bit east to Jay in Connecticut. He's got this from Indeed.
If you're hiring, trust me, you need Indeed. Why? Because Indeed is a job site you can trust to provide quality candidates. That's right. Indeed delivers 4 times